is they had one supplier did the adhesives, and they had another supplier come in to do the waterproofing. And unfortunately, they didn't look at and they didn't work together, as the waterproofing agent they used gave off ammonia, and that caused the adhesive to fail. And when that first shuttle came down and they waterproofed it, all 30,000 tiles fell off the shuttle. And NASA scrambled, and they just sent requests for product to anybody and everybody. And my company just happened to have this one product on the shelf. It wasn't even good. It was just kind of only 85% pure, and somebody stuck it on the shelf, so they sent it to them, and it worked the best. And for that entire time, our little company waterproofed the space shuttle. We sold them the stuff that they injected, but I mean, that's the kind of stuff you need to look at.
Well, and I've heard more and more that that's what happens on the small scale is you get serendipity. You get some base load product that you almost randomly stumble across that basically keeps you fed long enough to allow you to build the business.
Right.
Right.
And there's some, and when you're working with the biomedical people, one of the companies I worked for did a lot with dental polymers, and it can it took 10 years to build that business because of the FDA protocols and being very cautious. And once we were in.
Right.
And they don't like to change. I mean, once they're happy and they got a product that works and it works the same every time, they don't really want to even look at different vendors. And it's not about saving money. It's about being compliant and making a consistent product.
Are those same trends true across markets? Certainly the regulatory environment in medical is worse. Aerospace is fairly annoying from a regulatory perspective too. But in general, I get the perception that once you're spec'd in on a product, it's kind of yours to lose.
As long as you're in those industries. I mean, if it weren't for the fact that the Chinese poison people every so often, there a lot of, and frankly, I've had customers say, we know we can get it cheaper from China, but we trust you.
Right.
And that's the type of relationship you need to have, because for the basic and the commodities, they're all coming out of China, and you've got a whole bunch of people that are in the U.S. and they have a company set up, but all they're doing is importing and reselling.
Are they getting any traction on the non-commodity side, or is it really still pretty?
No, it's only on the commodities.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty much just on the commodities, because now you're trying to save pennies on the kilogram, and that is all cost driven, and frankly, there's not too much you can screw up on that. I mean, it happens from time to time, but for the specialty items, though, and especially in those industries that rely heavily on a quality system, the overseas markets, overseas suppliers, and the Chinese, the Indians, they're not making headway because they screw up enough times that gives people pause.
Yeah, I know. Is there a European market for this stuff? Is the European dynamic similar to the U.S.?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was the Europeans that first started building plants in China.
Right.
And that's where it went.
Yep.
But,
interesting.
Yeah, Wacker's one that's they still do a lot of specialties.
Okay.
Evonik doesn't do as much. Some of the guys in the French, they kind of got away from it, and they sold some of their specialty silicones to, I think it became Blue Star, and that's run by the Chinese.
Yeah, well, Blue Star.
They have plants in the U.S.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. As the old Rodent Blanc and and Rhodia was the other one.
Yeah, you've probably dealt with all those guys in different forms, I would imagine.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of surprising how that goes. All right, so we're talking about product development. We're talking about ops. So if you were looking for trends in this industry, what do you see? Where do you see it going? Do you see anything fundamentally changing, or is it just sort of incremental as opposed to kind of step change?
Well, a lot of it, I guess the majority is incremental, moving in a certain direction until somebody hits on a eureka moment and the whole damn industry changes.
Right.
As I've seen, it's, what's that?